A very good evening, everyone. This is a very, very interesting topic, and I have Chef Harpal, I have Abhay, and I have Nikita with us. I would request a small introduction that you could lead with, and then I will jump right into like the introduction of the topic that we're looking at. So
Hi, my name is Nikita. I run Chrome Hospitality. Chrome Hospitality currently has 8 restaurants under its banner, starting with GG in Bombay, which is the most famous one till now. We've recently launched late checkout. Um, we also have a Mexican place by the name Laila, and three multi cuisine brands under the name of Eve.
okay.
And we have a cafe called Donna Delhi and Chai in Chamber. And the final one is a small boutique hotel in Goa by the name Kaya.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
And I think there's a lot that's been happening vis-a-vis F&B. So I think I just want like an opening view of yours on this entire conversation about celebrities and food and beverage. So just an opening statement. What do you feel? What's your general thought?
I honestly have very mixed feelings about it.
All right.
It has its pros, it has its cons.
Okay.
What a celebrity partnership does for you is gets you that instant credibility,
Okay.
right? It also gets you the PR buzz. It gets you the people to come, right? But in the end of the day, your product still needs to speak for itself.
Absolutely.
You'll get the people come in day one, day two, but if the product doesn't have its own soul,
Yep.
the people are not going to keep coming back. So for me, it's a double-edged sword. You can get it right, like Apiraj has, but so many celebrity restaurants have not worked.
Yep. So Abhay, welcome to the forum. Let's understand your take and tell us your journeys.
Thank you for having me here. I come from a legacy of owning and running restaurants pre-independent India. My first restaurant run by my family was started in 1942. It was a small 10 feet by 20 feet restaurant, and today it houses 460 seats.
Wow.
From there, we are now own Preetham Dhaba, two hotels, Grandmama's Cafe, Tori, the Roll Company, Nakra, all the brands that we currently own and run. And it's been a journey. My journey's been about 20 plus years, but the family legacy is 80 plus.
So when you speak of legacy, how do you keep the Gen Z engaged?
That's very powerful question, because that's a question that is in every legacy brand's mind on how do we be relevant, how do we stay relevant. But my answer to this is that you have old restaurants like Preetham have nostalgia on their side, and nostalgia is something that Gen Z actually are driven to. So we should not make any changes to what we do, but just be relevant with keeping up to today's times, right? For example, Preetham was the initial restaurant, but that became Preetham the Dhaba, which became more experiential.
Correct.
So serving the nostalgia along with the experiential part is what keeps you relevant today.
So I think that's yeah, I think that's a great thought because keeping yourself relevant by the virtue of originality. I think that's what you're saying, and I think that's
So absolutely right. My grandfather's given the credit of bringing butter chicken to Mumbai, and that can never be taken away.
absolutely.
And if that is a story that I write, and that the story I sell, that is going to become the what Gen Zs want to buy and want to be a part of.
Absolutely. Chef Harpal, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
And well, not much introduction is needed, but I'll still, take a couple of minutes and understand everything from Donald Trump to economics,
Yeah.
along with how celebrities and restaurant management go hand in hand. Your thoughts?
Well, everybody, my name is Chef Harpal. Everybody knows me more for television, but I'm not born out of television. I keep telling this to everybody. I am born out of a kadai and a chula, and I spend hardcore time in cooking. And right now, I own a restaurant brand called Karigiri. We run about 11 restaurants and one cloud kitchen. Apart from consulting, etc., So over the years that I've spent time as a chef, I've worked with people around. The most important thing about a restaurant, I believe, is I mean, we have some legacy people, we have some new age restaurateurs here, and I believe I sell emotion and stories, and I want to be consistently doing it. I do not want to fluctuate with fads and new age things. I want to be relevant what I was yesterday, what I am today, and what I'll be tomorrow. And we've seen that, especially in Bombay, or even in North India for that matter, कोई अगर गजाली की तरह है तो वो फिश करी बेच रहा है तो फिश करी बेच रहा है. कोई अगर प्रीतम का ढाबा है, आप जाएं आज भी तो वो नॉस्टैल्जिया है. खटिए पे बैठे हैं आप अंदर, दादर के स्टेशन के बाहर इतना प्यारा सा रेस्टोरेंट है. ठीक है जी. और आई वांट टू बी रेलिवेंट लाइक दैट. आई वांट माय चिल्ड्रन टू ओन दैट लेगेसी. Like when I did, I'll have a classic thing, sharing a classic example on this subject with you. That when I was doing the television show and I entered the serious television industry of cooking, my director put me one question which is so very relevant for a restaurant also. He asked me, Harpal, एक चीज़ बताओ तुम्हारे मरने के बाद लोग तुम्हें कैसे याद रखेंगे? And I had no answer then. I got the answer in 7 days' time. I went back to him. I told him, and that's how Namak Shamak was born. And same thing stands for a restaurant. कि रेस्टोरेंट अगर मैं ओन करता हूँ तो हमारे रेस्टोरेंट के बोर्ड रूम में हम एक ही सवाल करते हैं कि आज मेरा नाम वहाँ चल रहा है, मेरे मरने के बाद भी वो चलना चाहिए. It should be relevant. It should be kind of perpetual till it can be alive, and should be consistent even if I am not present. So वो वाली कहानी है और वो चीज़ हमने लेगेसी में देखी है. और न्यू एज रेस्टोरेंटर्स को भी मैं यही कहता हूँ कि फैट्स आर देयर, लेकिन अगर आप कंसिस्टेंट रहेंगे, मरने के बाद आप प्री डिसाइड कर लें कि मरने के बाद लोग आपको कैसे याद रखेंगे, तो वो हम करते हैं. दैट्स व्हाट आई कीप डूइंग.
So, great thought. And I remember when I was speaking to you when I just first met, and I said that it's the emotion, it's emotion that connects food and people together. So, nostalgia and this basic emotion connect is extremely important. Chef, when we speak of celebrities, there are many definitions, many versions to this word. And as a chef, to be acknowledged and to be known as a celebrity, how does that impact your outlook to the operations that you run or the conversations you have with possible partners?
So there are two ways of looking at it. I have got a mission for all the restaurateurs and hoteliers to make the world chef popular. एंटर द लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी जो एग्रीगेटर्स कहते हैं ना, मैं हमेशा सबको कहता हूँ कि अगर आपके घर में नमक है तो मैं हूँ, और वो शब्द जो है शेफ़ आपके घर में सीमित नहीं बसना चाहिए, ताकि आपको शेफ़ का जो वर्ड है उससे प्यार हो. आपको देन बैकवर्ड जर्नी शुरू होती है कि आपको रेस्टोरेंट जो हम चलाते हैं या कोई भी चलाता है प्यार होना शुरू हो जाएगा. उससे सारी इंडस्ट्री को बेनिफिट मिलना चाहिए. सो दैट्स हाउ व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट माय न्यूएस्ट शो लाफ्टर शेफ्स, ओके, मुझे बड़ा आई टेक प्राइड इन दैट, नॉट बिकॉज देयर इज नॉनसेंस हैपनिंग देयर, बट दैट वर्ड शेफ हैज़ बिकम लार्जर देन लाइफ विद दैट शो. ओके, सबको समझ में आ गया भाई शेफ है. तो ये सबसे एक मिशन ये है कि उसे कितना बड़ा करें कि सबको समझ में आ जाए. क्योंकि जब मैंने वर्ड शेफ सीखा था और मैं IHM गया था, तो हमारे टाउन में खड़गपुर में नोबडी न्यू व्हाट अ शेफ वाज. तो आज एक वो मिशन है, एक वो एंगल से मैं अपने आप को देखता हूँ कि वो एंगल से मैं अपने आप को सेलिब्रिटी शेफ कहता हूँ कि लेट अस एंटर दी Tier 4 सिटी. Tier 3 की बात करते हैं, मैं तो कहता हूँ Tier 4 जाना है मुझे. किसान के बगल में खड़े होके ये उससे बताना है कि बॉस तू जो उगाता है एक शेफ़ पकाता है, उसे वर्ड शेफ़ समझ में आना चाहिए कि मैं शेफ़ के लिए उगा रहा हूँ। आज अगर आप सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करते हैं, सोर्सिंग की बात करते हैं, तो वो जो उगा रहा है उसे शेफ़ समझ में आ रहा है कि आई एम ग्रोइंग दिस फॉर दिस शेफ़।
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a big impact, right? And that is one mission. When everybody talks कि भाई सेलिब्रिटी शेफ का मतलब क्या है, उसका मतलब ये है कि जहाँ नमक है वहाँ खाना बनता है और वहाँ एक वर्ड शेफ रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए। सबसे पहले वो हो गया। दूसरा इम्पैक्ट ये है कि रेस्टोरेंट्स में कैसे उसका इम्पैक्ट हो। यस, लाइक राइटली सेड बाय निकिता दैट इनिशियल जंप मिलता है, वो मैंने शुरू में देखा है कि इनिशियल जंप ज़रूर मिलता है, लेकिन उसके बाद खाना ही बोलता है। सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ जो मैंने बॉम्बे में रह के सीखी है शेट्टी रेस्टोरेंट से, कि भाई गल्ले में खड़े होते हो क्या? ठीक है जी, गल्ले में खड़े होते हो मतलब हाइजीन पता है, मतलब कस्टमर कौन आता है पता है, मतलब किसके टेबल में डिले हो रहा है पता है, सब कुछ पता है। तो एक सेलिब्रिटी शेफ हूँ लेकिन गल्ले में खड़े रहता हूँ, मतलब रेस्टोरेंट में खड़े रहता हूँ बस,
Amazing.
और आगे पीछे रहता हूँ। क्योंकि अगर आपने कढ़ाई दोनों तरफ से साफ नहीं की है तब तो वो शॉर्ट टर्म एसोसिएशन है कि somebody पावरफुल विद टन्स ऑफ मनी विल कम, हरपाल जी बेटे को सेटल करना है, आपका नाम लेके रेस्टोरेंट खोल देते हैं। तो खोल तो देंगे, 30 साल मेहनत की है, वो वर्ड, वो टर्म, वो फेस को पॉपुलर करने के लिए 3 दिन में उसे बर्बाद नहीं कर सकते,
Absolutely.
राइट? तो बड़ी मेहनत लगती है उसके पीछे। अगर ये मेहनत सब सेलिब्रिटी शेफ्स को समझ में आती है तो ये रेलिवेंट है और ये पार्टनरशिप भी रेलिवेंट होती है। तो वहाँ पे ये पार्टनरशिप काम करती है, लॉन्ग टर्म रहती है, पार्टनर्स के साथ, इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ, जहाँ पे यू आर एक्चुअली saying that I'm not investing, but I have the skin in the game.
Correct.
Okay, if I have the skin in the game, then I am the right person to partner with, and I'm not loitering that I am having my skin in the game with multiple partners. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm loyal to somebody and ensuring that the path that I walk is to the path that leads to success, not just a short-term thing. कि इससे पैसे कमा लिया because he came to consult me, उससे पैसे कमा लिया because he came to consult me. No, वो नहीं करना है. So this learning has come after a long period of time. It didn't come overnight. I mean, it came after a long period of time. उसके लिए ठहराव की बड़ी ज़रूरत है। रेवेन्यू सबको चाहिए होता है, मुझे भी चाहिए होता है, पैसा मुझे भी चाहिए होता है, बट वो ठहराव वो बहुत ज़रूरी है।
So, Abhay, what do you feel? I know that in the past you've actually supported and you've actually promoted a lot of chefs. But when we speak of this particular concept of celebrities and this entire synergy coming together, what do you think? This kind of a collaboration brings in terms of marketing.
See, it's absolutely true what Nikita said, that your product has to be great.
Yeah.
That's the core basic of running a restaurant.
Sure.
If the food that you feed, the experience that you give, the service that you give is not right, no matter what happens, you're not going to have a successful restaurant. But on the other hand, in a business that is so saturated, you hear about a restaurant opening if not every week, at least two to two restaurants opening in a big city every week. How do you stand out? How do you market yourself and stand out and stand above so people get the first foot into your door?
Sure.
And with a celebrity chef, with a celebrity attached to the restaurant, and especially celebrity chef will, yes, people come for the food and you immediately get that gratification.
Correct.
But with a celebrity coming on board, you are jumping on to populist pop culture. And when I say populist pop culture means you are actually stepping your foot and going up through someone who's got decades of experiences already sold to people.
Okay.
Right, you are getting on to nostalgia, a feeling, a experience that is being developed by a person decades in the past.
Correct.
You are going and attaching yourself to something that is way above, right? For example, today if you have FMCGs going in and buying a toothpaste or something as simple, they have celebrity faces just endorsing your product.
Correct.
But getting a celebrity involved in your project you are taking that credibility on day one and transferring it to you. And something like this is not very easy to do. And if you have the capacity and capability to bring that credibility on your board, on into your restaurant, there is nothing like it.
Yeah,
It puts you far above a certain strata in the business that you are in. And if you're doing everything else right, then probably the sky is your limit.
Yeah, because what I'm hearing as like an echo between Chef Harpal and you is the fact that the plate needs to speak for itself. I see that the product has to stand. One has to respect the plate. I see those as an emotion. Nikita, in your case, what do you feel? When you have to look at interpretation / creativity combined with expectations certain people may have with these kind of collaborations. I hear you and I hear you well when you say that it's a double-edged sword, but I would like to understand, how do you balance between creativity and, say, investor expectations? Or
Sorry, creativity and
And investor expectations or your collaborative
Investor
expectations? Yes.
Initially, I feel investors are very happy with the idea of getting a celebrity on board, and they'd, I think, be the ones who get starstruck.
Okay.
Right? They want the celebrities on board because the brand does well or no long term, it'll still have some brand value to it that comes with it. So on day one, they already have that visibility that they want, right? When it comes to creativity, I feel like being very honest for me, and because when we were partnering up with Bhumi Pednekar for our boutique hotel Kaya, and it happened very organically, right? I didn't go through an agency she was a friend's friend. She was looking at getting into hospitality, and we met, we connected. It didn't come with the entourage, the agents. So it was very like a friend talking to a friend.
Okay.
And these are my expectations. The brand values matched. She wanted to get into sustainability. Right now, she's United Nations national advocate for sustainability. My hotel was about slow living and sustainability, so 2+2 did very well for us. With regards to creativity, get your contracts in place. I'll tell you what happens with us. Most people get so starstruck that I want to get the celebrity. They don't look at the nitty-gritties of it.
Yeah.
And we've burnt our hands multiple times to not have that again. Be very clear in your contract terms. This is what you're leading, and this is what my scope is.
Correct.
And if that's clear, then I don't think that. I mean, we were lucky enough. We've never had these issues.
It
And
also
with regards
speaks
to-
a lot about you as as the promoter, as the person, because to not having these issues means that there must be a lot of things that you're also doing right. So compliments
Honestly,
to you.
I'll tell you, when I said burnt my hands, I have a very interesting story.
Okay.
And this was a one-time video collab I was doing with this celebrity for Gigi. We were doing a cocktail program collab, okay? And it was one-time video shoot, nothing extensive. Agents got in touch, the managers are in touch, we are discussing the script, 500 changes in that script. It went on and on and on to a point where, shoot is tomorrow and you want me to change the ending today. And my ending is an important part to my script. I've worked on it for months. No, the celebrity is so involved in the script. He's writing the script. He does not like this part and remove the ending and all of that.
Wow.
On the day of the shoot, the celebrity walks in. The guy is amazing, very easy to work with, saying yes for everything, right? No problems at all. The ending is being shot. He reads the ending, the new ending, and he's like, "मुझे नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है." So as a fluke, I just tell him, "ये ending का option है." He loves the idea. That's when I realized the entourage, the managers, the assistant never told him the real script. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it has its pros and cons, but I feel like when it comes to something, if tomorrow the brand does well,
Correct.
you're going to be responsible for it. You cannot point at the celebrity. So
Vice versa, for that matter.
if you're next on the line, then you have to make those decisions.
So, Chef, what do you feel? This seems like something which immediately stung a nerve.
So, Nikita, I must share this with you that especially for FMCG products, I keep getting this probably one every day that ek reel kar do. So it's a blunt no to them. And I keep telling the agency or the brand guys Most things happen to me through the brand or the CEO itself. And even to the CEO, I tell him कि एक वीडियो कभी मत करना मेरे साथ. आई डोंट वांट अ वन नाइट स्टैंड. मैंने पैसे लिए तेरे और मैं निकल गया.
Yeah.
मुझे कोई इमोशन नहीं है तेरे ब्रांड के साथ चला या ना चला, मुझे कोई मतलब नहीं है. And at this time, at the phase that I am in, and I am able to tell more no's to people than a. Because one, you don't feel the brand, you don't feel the pulse, and yet you want to spend the money. And there's an agency who thinks of their commission. Okay. Earlier, 5 years back, I used to do this कि यार चल खत्म करना है बॉस, पैसे दे रहा ना, काम खत्म करो, बोल के निकलो, तुम्हें क्या चाहिए. Like you rightly said, if there's an agency involved in between, they will keep tweaking it. Then I keep telling them, भाई brand को जो चाहिए करने दो ना बस. Ultimately, agency, you are an agency boss. The brand needs something. Let that happen first, and then let it decide. But I'm very, very clear that one video or a one reel is a one night stand doesn't work. वो आप अमिताभ बच्चन को ले आओ boss. I've got tons of example where Amitabh Bachchan has posted food products with him. One food product, it did not work. और सिर्फ अमिताभ बच्चन ने नहीं, अमिताभ बच्चन, ऐश्वर्या राय, अभिषेक, तीनों ने एक प्रोडक्ट किया था और वो प्रोडक्ट तो शेल्फ से उड़ जाना चाहिए था, वो कंपनी बंद हो गई. तो वन नाइट स्टैंड, वन रील इज वन नाइट स्टैंड, डोंट डू इट. फॉर ऑल द प्रोडक्ट गाइस पीछे जितने हैं स्टॉल लगा के बैठे हैं, वो ये समझ लें कि एक रील कभी मत करें किसी के साथ. करना है तो इमोशन बिल्ड करो, रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करो, एक इक्वेशन बिल्ड करो, तब जाके वो फॉर्मूला सेट बैठता, वरना नहीं बैठता.
So speaking of formulas, Abhay, the question always boils down to unit economics versus the money that gets spent on such collaborations. One can always say that it's for a brand collaboration and it's towards the best interest of the brand when it goes forward, etc. But when it comes to basic P&Ls, what are your thoughts on how do you find that balance between such collaborations and
So I'll tell you there's a difference, and I clearly always say there is a difference between a celebrity partner, the word partner, and an influencer. That one reel, one comment, one entry, one visit to the restaurant, you have to treat them like an influencer. And a partner is someone who's hand-holding you through the entire journey. And they're two very stark, different parts of it, right? An influencer will come in, probably have a meal, etc. That's all good. That's all fine, right? But a partner is on your balance sheet. They are a part of your profits and your losses, and they are part of your journey completely from now to wherever you reach. They have the upside and downside.
Correct.
And when somebody gets attached to you in that form is when you should be acceptable to a partnership. Otherwise not.
So I think I hear you that it's something which goes both ways. It also becomes the foundation of a very long relationship as well. So Nikita, then the question obviously arises that how does one grow? You've had one experience, and I'm also seeing there to be a trend of people opening bouquets of formats rather than opening a chain, like a huge chain. So they could still be 2 or 3 of them, but not more than that. So how do you then balance these different formats and these different partnerships?
With celebrities.
Yeah.
With celebrities, I feel like both of them rightly mentioned, for it to make sense from a PNL perspective, it needs to be a long-term association. Without that, they don't have any skin in the game, right? Also, what happens with us is when you, say, for example, get them involved with your hospitality and also has an umbrella of other brands under it, more or less keen to be a part of them if it's doing well. So I don't think,
So yeah, absolutely, I agree. And which also then brings to what do we all foresee as the challenges moving forward in the time to come? The real estate prices may be going higher. The manpower costs, the cost of raw material, cost of good raw material is higher. Technology is not getting any cheaper. So, what do you see are the challenges in the near future, Chef? If I may start with you.
I think in future the margins will become lesser. I mean, all said and done. That's what we are foreseeing. Surprisingly, as we are slowly starting to expand in smaller cities, we've realized that the rentals are no less cheaper than what we see in a Delhi or a Bombay.
Agreed.
Bhopal does not allow you to even have something on a ground floor at 240 rupees per square foot. So it's like a crazy thing, and we tell the owner कि भाई साहब यहाँ पे सेल कुछ भी कर लो तो ये इतनी की होगी, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होगी.
I'm a Bhopali, by the way.
Yes, and it's very difficult to understand this, but as you keep growing, if you can, manage to scale to a level where you have an ideation that okay, it should not begin with the thought, like I would say, that you're growing to sell it off, because the moment you do that, then you don't create ownership. So the moment you do that, we have seen people who have gone to the stock market, some of the restaurant chains that they have gone to the stock market, their share price going from 1800 down to 300, and now they are no more relevant in the stock market. So that little time phase which was where they had the skin in the game, then everything was falling in place. The moment they found their exit route, then it is out. So if you are trying to build a legacy like what Pritam has, it is a legacy where you're saying that मैं restaurant बना रहा हूँ, मुझे बेचना नहीं है, मुझे timeless creativity चाहिए यहाँ पे. I want to be timeless, and that's what I believe, that first thought of building a restaurant has to be timeless. Now, to build a timeless thing, some things, when you step out of that comfort zone, you go to a new zone, maybe there are small obstacles that you face which will pinch you in the P&L. Like we have a restaurant in Bangalore, and that was our biggest mistake, because we did not realize that the format of opening restaurant is 0, 0 to 1, 0 to 10, 0 to 100, and 0 to 150, that is kilometers. Okay, we just jumped to Bangalore, and whenever we travel to Bangalore to do some work, the P&L shakes up, and that is the mistake. And doing that mistake is a problematic thing when you are in the initial years. When you have sizable numbers, then probably yes, the corporate value takes care, or the corporate structure takes care of all the travel that is happening in small cities. But one thing pinches me a lot is the way inflation happens. We cannot directly relate that with the menu pricing. If inflation is at 8%, I cannot increase year on year menu pricing at 8%. Okay, that is the biggest challenge we have as a restaurant. In fact, what is happening is it is slightly going down with scalable restaurants. And that is a very, very tricky situation for all the owners, because the moment you start doing that, which means you are, getting into wafer thin margins, then it's going to pinch you someday. So that thing, I'm sure everybody agrees, which is why probably most of us now have got into creating menus which don't cost us 3,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. We say that, okay, यार एक पेज बदलो यार इसको फटाक से, यहाँ प्राइस बढ़ गया, पेज बदलो, कॉस्ट कम है. वो चेंज ओवर का भी कॉस्ट कम होना चाहिए, है ना. सो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए कि वो इन्फ्लेशन versus selling price in the menu, it should match in the country. And that is not matching. That is also not matching because the salaries of people are also not increasing it that way. So the spending power is not increasing. So ये economics जो है ये बड़ी कठिन है समझनी. ये इसके पीछे बहुत, you need to have deep pockets. You need to have relevant pockets to stay relevant in the game. And
Some patience.
yes, have a lot of it. A lot of it. I mean, I'm telling you.
Sorry, what would be your concluding thoughts, be?
My idea about restaurants being profitable
Yeah.
is a little different.
Okay.
Where I think the biggest pain point is rentals. Uh, and these rentals increase for some contracts every year, some contracts every 3 years. And after a span of about, say, 6 years, you also then talk about a large jump where the new contract has to be built out. At times, I have lost restaurants where I have built the location from zero to a hero. I have put in my hard work, and then a third restaurant or a fourth restaurant comes in, pays double the rental, and takes it out of my hand because I know it's not feasible at that point of time.
Correct.
So I think the core issue that I've always had with restaurants, over and above everybody else faces, is taking a property, making it worthy of what it is today, and then losing it. So as a strategy now, going forward, I try to buy the underlying asset. Yes, it is very expensive. It is very expensive on my balance sheet, but as I say, I want to grow old with it. I want my kids to have it, and I want to build a legacy what my grandfather did. For that, I need to buy the asset, the underlying asset, because that is going to be worth much, much more than anyone can ever imagine.
Absolutely. And what of your
So,
emotion?
so now in the future, that is what I'm looking at. I'm growing slowly but surely, and I'm trying to buy the underlying asset.
So Nikita, your thoughts and where do you see your journey with F&B going, and this entire outlook towards such amazing brands? How do you see this going?
I think I'm only like 3 years old into this business, very new to it.
Okay.
The journey so far has been amazing. You won't believe, after marriage, 3 years, all that I did with my husband was build this company. That's all we did. We didn't go for a honeymoon. We only did that, right? And we're having a great time.
I'm sure he's not here right now to hear this.
He's here tomorrow though. But one thing that I have learned is it's a business you've got to show up for every day. And very few businesses are like that challenging. Today, a customer could walk in, have the best experience, and tomorrow not have a good experience and then completely blacklist your restaurant. And you've got to show up 365 days, right? So it's a very challenging, you've got to be hands-on. There is no two ways about it. Also, from an owner perspective, for us, the risk is huge because the capex investment in a restaurant is huge. The break-even years could take up to 2-3 plus years.
Absolutely.
And in that, your rentals have increased. Everything is increased. So it's a very difficult space to be in. And I think kudos to everyone who is trying their level best. And you still have every week one restaurant opening up. So
Yeah. As I was telling you earlier, and like just to conclude this this amazing conversation, is that I have had a journey through restaurants, and for the last 13 years I've been cooking for the cinemas, and I see every emotion that has been discussed over here very, very existential and relevant to what I'm doing as well. Tier 3, Tier 4, absolutely important. Celebrity collaborations in that city, why not? Better ROI. Your top locations may be very capex and capital intensive. So are there other avenues? Yes, absolutely. Creativity has to be there. It's the crux of what you're doing. And hats off to all three of you, and thank you, because I know that each one of you have contributed so much, and this has been a very, very amazing conversation. Thank you so much, everyone.